Well, I hope that everyone's had a wonderful week. It is that time again for our weekly mindfulness practice together. And what's been alive for me this week is reflecting back on my time in school, and particularly because right now the students at Western University, where I attended school, are getting ready to head into exam week before winter break. And so we had a mindfulness session together just to, remind our minds and our bodies about the ability to disconnect from our obsessive thoughts, which can be often negative, especially during times of stress, like exam week, but also in the real world when we're going through our day to day or facing a particularly challenging day at work or a really difficult client. Our minds can start to be triggered and go into overdrive with thought, which can often make it to where we're not thinking clearly and we're reacting instead of responding to what's in front of us. So I thought that the practice that we do today could just be a basic reminder about how to ground ourselves in the moment. And one of the skills that helps us with that is being able to turn the volume up on our different sensory input stimuli. So, for example, with mindfulness, thought is considered a sixth sense, just like sight, sound, touch, taste, and smell. Thought is actually happening to us all the time. Because if you think about it, if we really had control over our thoughts 100%, we could just turn them on and off like a light switch, which, of course, isn't how reality works. And if you do have the ability to turn thoughts on and off like a light switch, please let me know. I would love to hear how you manage that. But for the majority of us, thoughts are always happening in our minds. And so the practice of mindfulness in looking at all of our senses more fully encourages us to turn the volume down on our thoughts and to turn the volume up on our other senses so that we're starting to put more attention on the things that are happening in the actual present moment through sight, sound, touch, taste, and smell instead of our thoughts about what is actually happening. Because in the end, if we're focused more on our thoughts or our opinions or our beliefs or our predispositions or preconceptions about something, we're not actually in touch with what's in front of us, right? We're missing the full picture. So the practice that we'll do today is just an invitation to look at all of our senses more fully and to get curious about what it's like to turn the volume up on our other senses. So I'd just like to invite you to get comfortable. You can either be sitting or lying down, whatever's most comfortable for you. And we'll start this practice with our eyes closed. And as we settle in, I'd just like to invite you to notice that even with your eyes closed, there's still a sense of sight there. So you can actually see light from behind your eyelids. If you take your hand and put it over your eyes and remove it, you'll just see that even through the eyelids, our visual perception is still active. So just noticing that. And we'll also just take a moment to notice any sounds around us. So it might be the sound of my voice or other sounds in the room. perhaps the air conditioner humming, or the fridge, or noises from outside, or even lack of sound. Just tuning into what your ears are perceiving. And now just remembering again that visual sense of sight, of light behind the eyelids. Noticing the sounds around us. And also inviting into our awareness the sense of touch. So the most relevant sensation here might be the feeling of your sit bones and your legs against the chair, and the feet on the floor. You can even feel the sense of clothing on the skin. And the weight of the arms in the lap. And also noticing as the body is breathing, the sensation of clothing moving against the skin with the breath. Perhaps the shoulders rising slightly, the ribs expanding, and the arms shifting. You can even become aware of the temperature in the room. And maybe how the sense of temperature feels different on the face than it does on the hands, the palms of the hands. Noticing any sense of warmth or moisture and dryness. And reflecting again, inviting our senses of sound, hearing, and sight. All into our field of awareness. And so much of this we simply filter out throughout the day. So taking this time to reconnect with our senses. And also becoming aware of the mouth, any sense of taste in the mouth. You might even simply notice if there's any moisture, dryness in the mouth. And becoming aware of the inside of the mouth, and the tongue and the teeth. And the next time you happen to swallow reflexively, just noticing what happens in the mouth when we swallow. What movement is there in the mouth and the jaw? And also becoming aware of any smells available to us. And even at the nostrils, a sense of air moving in and out with the breath. And becoming aware of any sense of movement in the nostrils. The sensation of the cooler air entering and going down the trachea into the lungs. See if you can follow that cool sensation as it enters the body. And noticing the warmer air going out. And becoming aware again of the breath as it's moving in the body. And we'll spend a couple of minutes, 2 minutes, just noticing the breath move and focusing our attention here. And just watching what happens with the mind as well. If thoughts occur, our minds are so busy. Again, those thoughts are happening to us all of the time. So just noticing if any thoughts occur. But then experimenting with just noticing them just like any other sensory input, any other sights, sounds, sensations, smells. Just noticing them, but then just inviting our attention back to the breath and the movement in the body with the breath. You can also choose to tap into any of your other senses as well. Any sounds happening, the contact points of the body with the chair and the floor, that sensation of light behind the eyelids, smells, tastes. All happening at the same time as thought, constantly available.
So just experimenting with turning the volume up on those sensations and turning the volume down on thought. Thoughts are still happening, but now it's almost as if they're in the background. Just another component of experience. But feeling into the body as it breathes. Feeling the weight of the body in the chair, in the arms in the lap. The sensation of air at the nostrils. Now, placing our attention on the visual sense, noticing the light behind the eyelids. And just barely opening the eyes slightly with a soft gaze down, and now just taking in the sight around us, the colors in the room. And opening the eyes further still, just taking in the entire room around us. Just looking around. Just noticing the different colors and what's here. And all the while, the body is still breathing, is still in contact with the chair. The sensation of the breath moving in and out of the body. All a part of experience all the time. And so as we transition to the rest of our day, I'd just like to invite you to stay in touch with your other senses just a little bit more. In this way, we're retraining the mind to not focus so much on the thoughts that are happening and to be open more to the present moment in front of us, life as it actually happens. I hope you have a beautiful rest of your day. Be well.